Welcome to another episode of Chat GRC on the Blue-Lusional podcast, where I, Devin, and Casey interview a new grassroots candidate every single week until November, the midterm general election.
Yes.
This week, we are still hitting the red states because these are the most important states to be locked in right now. Let's get into it, young lady. Who are you and what are you running for?
Hi there. I'm Cody Hutcheson. I'm running for House District 123 out in Missouri. It's around the Lake of the Ozarks area.
See, I love that we're hitting Missouri.
Local. We need
Yes.
those local elections.
This is now like the third person that we've interviewed that's running in Missouri. This is fun.
There's a ton of us right now. I think most of the seats are contested right now, which is awesome.
I love it.
That's what we love to
seeing
see.
that stat.
Don't let people get too comfortable,
Yep.
And they're not. People are getting put on their toes.
They are. So we want to know what inspired you to run in this election cycle.
So the big thing was I'm a veteran. I served 20 years in the Air Force. And after that, I wanted to retire back home. I'm from Cape Girardeau originally, and I didn't want to retire back to Cape because there's not a ton of water I want to swim in there. So I moved to the Lake of the Ozarks. I'd come here every summer with my aunt and uncle the entire time I was growing up. So I was like, I'll just take my family and move them to the middle of Missouri. And so we did. And I knew coming out here, when you're getting released from the military, you have to go through a thing called the Transition Assistance Program. And it's mandatory. It's like congressionally mandated that people have to go through it now. And so people, will tell you what benefits you're getting when you're getting out, and they'll help you with your retirement package, and they'll also help you with your disability package if you're broken. All of those types of things they're going to help you with, but they'll also help you in picking a state if you haven't already picked a state to move to or to stay in. And so I was going through transition assistance, and they said, "Hey, where are you going?" And I said, "I've already bought a house. We're moving back home to Missouri. Can't wait to get there. My family's there. We haven't seen them in, a dog's age. And so we're headed back." And they said, "You already bought a house?" And I said, "Sure did." And they said, "Well, and you have family there?" And I said, "Yep." And they said, "Well, if you didn't have a support system and you hadn't already bought a house, we would have tried to talk you out of it, because Missouri ranks in the bottom of the barrel for veterans benefits. So moving back to Missouri is not going to be beneficial to you or your family." And I said, "Well, maybe I can fix it." And so I immediately started calling people that I knew would be my representative. And so I called my county clerk that I knew I was moving to. I called my auditor. I called everybody and their mom, trying to find out about property tax exemptions, because a lot of the verbiage on like military.com and places like that, it says that Missouri is a property tax exempt state for 100% disabled veterans. It is not. You have to be a POW and be 100% disabled in order to collect that property tax exemption in Missouri.
I feel,
So many
wait, I may be
stipulations.
off, but I feel like that's such a small percentage.
It is. I think they
Okay.
said when I called to the veterans organizations out here, I think they said they have like 6 registered POWs anymore, and those are, Korea,
wow.
Vietnam kind of area.
That's so wrong.
As a GWAT vet, a Global War on Terrorism vet, we do not really have a ton of POWs, just because that wasn't really the name of the game for the Taliban or Al Qaeda. So people that were caught were not generally kept. So, so I was like, okay, well, I'm used to fighting a losing battle, because I was a part of a very small section that kind of had to fight for itself in the military. And so I said, I'll do the same thing. And so I'll just keep advocating as loudly as humanly possible as I can, even once I moved there. And so I did. I called everybody, and I got the canned responses back in email format, like, "Thanks a ton for contacting us. You need to talk to this veterans organization. They're doing good things for veterans." And that was about it. And so I said, okay, well, if I'm not going to get a good response or any type of real response, then I'm just going to run myself and I'll fix it myself if I have
Fix it
to. I
myself.
mean, it's kind of a military mantra anyway. Like if it's broke and, I can fix it, then that's my job. And it's definitely growing up in Missouri. That was always the mantra, like if nobody's doing the job and you know that it needs to get done, then it's time for you to do the job.
Yep.
So
I'll
I
fix
said,
it myself.
fix it myself.
Yup.
Exactly. And
Yup.
and so that's what I did. I got involved with the Democrat group out here, and they were looking for somebody to run, and I was, looking for a way to fix things. So I said, "Yeah, I'll run."
Yeah. It seems like everything just fell into line. It
It
fell into
it
place
really
like it
did.
needed
It
to.
fell in really, really well.
Yeah.
And so that's really the biggest point of contention that I'm running to try to fix out here is not just property tax exemptions, because that's a huge thing. But
Mhm.
as far as veterans benefits are concerned, we don't have education benefits really in the state of Missouri. The most we have is if you're 100% disabled and a veteran. Your veteran, that benefit is that your credit hours are capped at $50 per credit hour. We
Mm.
have states, to the left, right, and bottom of us that are giving away college to not
Yep.
only 100% disabled veterans, but their dependents, so their wives, their
Yeah.
husbands, and their kids to any college that's a state-run college. They're
Mhm.
going for free, and we don't have something like that
That's
here.
crazy.
There's also not any certification reciprocation here. So, like different states, what they'll do is when veterans get out, if you have a certification like an X-ray tech, or if you're a nurse, or if your spouse is a teacher, things like that, when they
Yeah.
get out, that certification will just roll over in that state, and then those people homestead there because they have property tax exemptions, they have
Mhm.
education benefits, and then they can just get straight to work. Missouri doesn't have anything like that. So we have two large bases here. We have Fort Leonard
Sheesh.
Wood and Whiteman up north. And then on top of that, we have Tinker to the left of us, and we have Scott to the right of us that we could literally be pilfering people from every day of
Yeah.
the week. And we're not. We're not doing that. And at the same time, we hear Governor Kehoe constantly saying that, oh my gosh, we're losing all these young professionals. Young professionals don't want to move to Missouri.
Yep.
Veterans love moving to rural areas. Veterans love moving to places they can hunt, they can fish, they
Right.
can get a cabin and not deal with humans and then
Yep.
go to work. And that's what we like. We like
Mm-hmm.
just doing that once we retire. And we're letting all of those people go every single day. And instead, we're giving giant kickbacks to these AI data farms. And there's no reason to do that. There's professionals here. We could keep them. And instead, we're picking big tech and we're picking depleting our water and, all the other things that go with data centers.
Yeah.
It's like a mini brain drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mm.
I talk a lot.
No, we'll
All
love
right.
it.
Put your teacher hat on. All right. People need to know about local elections and why they matter so much. So what would a state house representative do, and how can you use that influence on the local level?
Well, state house reps, they write, they write legislature, right? So they
Mhm.
write things that touch our everyday life. So they'll be the people that'll write veterans benefits issues. They'll be the people that'll write exemptions for like the elderly. We have an property tax exemption in Missouri for elderly people. So they're the people that write it, and then they're the people that you have to go to the House and do battle for it, pretty
Battle.
much.
Yep.
And that's what it's the easiest way to say that, that's what your representative should do instead of following a party line or instead of saying, okay, well, that's a red issue or that's a blue issue. What your representative should do is that they should sit down with the community and they should say, okay, what are important things to everybody? Like we have Amendment 5 coming out right now, which is an income tax. It kills our income tax and it swaps it for a very high sales tax, right?
Mm.
So instead of having that go onto the ballot right now, the way that it is, there should have been working groups in the communities prior asking
Mhm.
people, is this even something we want? Because right
Right.
now, Missourians, the loud, choir of voices, what they want is they want property taxes fixed and they'd like personal property taxes fixed also. And so instead of doing that, we were given this. So the local representative right now, what he is saying is that, I voted yes on it to give everyone a choice. Well, it's not a choice when you give somebody a hot mess over here and a hot mess over
Yeah.
here and pick between the two.
Pick
It's
which
not
hot
a
mess you
choice.
want.
Yeah, pick the mess you want. Do you want the mess or do you want one that might be better? But
Ugh.
also it suspends your constitutional right to, because we have this thing called the Hancock Amendment here in
Mhm.
Missouri that actually tells you whether or not, well, I mean, if they want to increase any tax, they have to put it on the ballot. They can take away
Mhm.
taxes all day long. If they didn't want income tax, they could just drop it tomorrow and then that would be it. But
Of course.
instead,
It's too easy.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's too
want to be
easy.
able to
Gotta work for it.
raise
Mhm.
it as at will, pretty much.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
This is yeah. This is crazy. It's why we tell people when they're like, "Well, I don't know who my state rep is," and it's like you need to know, because I think so many people think of representatives as the ones on Capitol Hill in DC, and those are the only people passing bills and reconciliation and budgets, and they don't know that that is also in their own state. The same thing in DC is just happening right in your own state for your own state, and those are where those bills are passed that are going to affect your day-to-day life immediately. And
Mm-hmm.
so many people have no idea that, like, don't know the difference between state representative and House, like US House representative. It's
Well,
insane.
that is true. Yeah, I've had multiple times where people, they'll get on my Facebook page or they'll message me and they're like, oh, we've got to stop X, Y, and Z at the federal level. And I'm like, I'm the wrong guy.
Wrong
That's not my
person.
bag. I'm not fixing that. I'm here to fix Missouri problems specifically for this area. I'm supposed to take whatever you want and I'm supposed to go to Jeff City and I'm
Mhm.
supposed to be the loudest voice out there to get it
Yeah.
fixed. And
Yep.
that's what I'm supposed to do. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm not doing my job. And if I'm focused on the federal level, I'm not doing my job. My job is here. This is it. And those are my wickets, right?
Mhm.
We were always told in the military, like, you can run. We're not going to give you, I'm not going to box you in, but I'm going to give you wickets to run through.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. Those are my wickets. It's state and that's it. And I can ping off of them all day long as I get where I'm going.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is I have to stay in those wickets. I almost have to keep blinders on sometimes because of all the crazy at the federal level.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
I have to, because I can't be a good candidate here and I can't be a good representative if I'm getting so wound up about federal level things.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And another thing too, where we tried to like drive it home for people, we're like, these are the people that are approving these redistricting maps.
Mhm.
That's why it's happening
Mhm.
so fast, because some of these states have a super majority. They don't have any Democratic state reps where they can actually push back and say, no, these are racist maps. And that's
Mhm.
why they're able to happen so fast.
Yeah.
They have their own state constitutions. People don't know that either, that
Right?
states
Mhm.
have their own constitutions. It's in some state constitution where it's, oh, you don't need to have to approve it by anyone to get a redistricting map done. You could just push it through. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Fighting back the executive orders. A lot of the executive orders, it's up to the state if they're going to follow the executive order or sue and push back on it. People don't realize that. They think an executive order goes out and every state has to follow it. There's just so many things. That's what we're here to, like, educate people and be like, this is why you need to go out and vote in your local election and not just show up at the midterm,
Yeah.
and vote for whoever you want to and leave all the rest blank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's why we're trying to, sorry.
No, you're good.
That's why we're trying to get the word out right now that they moved 2 large amendments to our August ballot, right, to our primary ballot. And they
Of
did
course I
that because they know it's low voter turnout.
Of
One is
course.
Amendment 4, and that is a direct attack on our petition initiative process here. And then Amendment 5, which is the income tax swap.
Of
Both
course.
of those they moved to August. That way people, hopefully won't get out and vote.
And vote. Yep.
That's so fucked.
And so everyone is trying to get the word out as loudly as humanly possible at this point to tell people, go out, vote no on 4, vote no on 5.
Voting
And then,
matters.
vote for all the other people out there too. But
Yes.
those are big.
Yes. Vote always and don't leave anything blank.
Yes.
Please. Please. Yeah, it's not that type of test.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would be required that you have to go down the whole ballot. Everything, it's like a Scantron. Everything has to have the bubble filled in.
Or you get fined.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. Yeah, it's going to get to that point.
I wish that election days were actually like days off, almost,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
where
Like
people
Australia.
could actually take, they could take time off and they could go and do. Because I know when I was a kid, my mom, she was working 2 jobs as a single mom and trying to get her over there to vote, but she would make sure she was over there voting, every chance she got, because that's our right,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
It's
they
like
should
20
make it
minutes
easier.
out of your day.
Yeah, they should make it easier.
They should. But I think when people think about Missouri, they automatically jump to, well, it's a red state. I'm sure they love everything this administration's doing and their state reps are doing. And we want to give people a bit of hope core, is what we like to call it. So since you're in Missouri and you're seeing what's happening, how have you seen constituents start to push back? Like if there's any activist groups, or your current representatives that are doing things to push back against this administration, and how are you wanting to kind of jump in and protect them in the future?
Well, the big thing that just happened was Respect Missouri Voters, right? So that was a petition initiative, right, to try to make sure that our petition initiative process is more codified, more solidified in our state constitution than what it even is already. It's already there, to solidify it further and to make sure that verbiage that goes into these bills, because a lot of the language that they put into these bills are there on purpose to make people second guess the way they're supposed to vote. And then also it's also kind of like a catch-22, because then the legislature, if we vote the way we need to vote, right? Like if we vote yes on something and it was supposed to be a yes and we did it finally, then they can say, oh no, the ballot language was too tricky.
Yep.
Let's overturn that. It doesn't count anymore.
Isn't that what they did when you guys voted on abortion?
Not just that, paid sick time off also. So they went through and they overturned that as well, saying that it had too many pieces to it. And that it didn't count. So, those types of things, Respect Missouri Voters, not only did it say, hey, we're going to codify this, better into the Constitution, but it also said, hey, as far as ballot language is concerned, it needs to be written to an 8th grade reading level.
Please.
Which is very important.
Because people can't read.
Well, and it's not even that, but I mean, you have to think, like, even people that have gone through college and they've been doing their job for, 11,000 years.
Yeah, so I can't understand it when they do these.
Yeah, and so you're looking at it and you're like, wait, like my husband, he went through Amendment 5 and he said, hey, no, I think that you guys are wrong in your assessment. I think that it says all of this up here, and then it says notwithstanding blah 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 blah. And I said, well, here's the deal. You actually have to go into your good old fashioned dictionary.com and tell me what notwithstanding means, because that means that all of this doesn't matter. And additionally, the Hancock Amendment doesn't matter either. And it's like, oh, I was totally under the wrong, assumption of what that is. And so he went and verified, and he's like, yeah, you're right. That it means that all this stuff they wrote up here doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not want this, notwithstanding, not just maybe if you feel like wanting it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it's like, do you want our white men to be able to fish? Yes or no?
Yeah, I just need a
yes or no that they should fish and be able to keep their fish. Like that one on the ballot, I was like, this one was simple.
Yeah.
But I love to hear that people are pushing back, because I feel like people get into the, despair part of this process, because it is a wait. We're still quite a ways away from November, and people start to look around and go, I don't know about these southern states or these deep red states. I don't know what they're doing to push back. And, I've seen with Missouri the calls for, hey, I think the data centers are going to come here. We need to start pushing back. Or we need to make sure, to your point, that we're addressing taxes here, because people are leaving in like droves. Like they are fleeing the state, and for only that reason. And so it's good to hear that people are rising up and saying, hey, no, we could all get together and just start pushing back on that.
Yeah, there's been so many people on both sides that I've found that have, they're unified on Amendment 5. They're unified on data centers specifically. Like nobody
Oh
wants that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fishing and a chick in the city all want the same thing. We don't want a data center. So it's pretty unifying, which is really nice to see. It's sad that it has to be something this large,
Right.
and it's sad that our governor doesn't want to listen to the amount of voices that are saying no right now. But it is very nice to see the unification going on. And to the point about us being a red state, we've been red for about 20 years. But prior to that, like prior to Bush, pretty much, we were purple. We were like a bellwether state, pretty much. So I remember growing up and my mom teaching me that we don't vote red or blue, we vote, on the issues. And
Yep.
that's how I grew up. If the issue is something that it shouldn't matter if it's red or blue. It should matter if it's to you right or wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Morality.
Yeah.
just a little bit of morality.
It's a lost art. I did want to ask you this because this stuck out to me. So what does service before self mean to you specifically?
Okay, well, service before self is one of my core values in the Air Force, right? So it's an integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do, right? And service before self to me just means that, well, in the military, it meant that the service came first. If I needed to deploy, I was going, and my family, I had to have them squared away. That way I could deploy, right? But here it's a little bit different. Service means I volunteered for something, right? I volunteered to step into a gap that was here. And I volunteered to, to represent people. And that means that even though I have personal opinions on certain things, I'm not representing me. I'm representing everybody here. So service before self means that, I should be able to talk to and represent somebody on the left as well as somebody on the right, as well as somebody on the right. I should be able to do all of those things, and I should be able to do it as openly as humanly possible.
See,
Okay.
that's how it should be.
Perfect.
It's just how it should be. The service before self. People are like, watching. A good example is when the U.S. House and the Senate is on recess, and you would think, oh, if we're not at Capitol Hill, you would think we'd go back to our districts and continue to serve because there are still a lot of people in need. And they go, no, I will be on a yacht in, the Caribbean somewhere, and I'll come back when I'm ready. Meanwhile, you have constituents whose buildings have, flooded because of water level issues, and they are calling your phone line, and you're, putting yourself before your constituents.
Yep.
No one's there.
Yeah,
No one's
I had
there.
somebody the other day, and they said, oh, or no, what did he say? He said, I wish you luck, and maybe you'll make some money out of this or something like that, right? And I said, well, if I'm doing it right, I won't make any money. I was like, in theory, I was like, that's what I should be aiming for.
It's not the motive.
With a net zero, right? It should, all the money goes to the people that need the money, and I have a retirement already. I'm a retired disabled veteran, so I don't come into this looking for thing.
Try. Like this isn't about the money, but everybody now expects it to be because of politicians making so much money.
Oh, yeah, they're making
like politicians. Politicians are not content creators. Like I know it may look like it,
they
but
seem
they're
like
not
it sometimes,
creators.
But they are not. And speaking of your time serving, you served in the Air Force, and I want to say this correctly because this is amazing decorations. You were an assistant superintendent of operations at the Western Air Defense Sector, and we want to know how you're planning to use your time there and kind of influence that on the policy making that you plan to do when you win.
Yeah.
We say when.
I mean, not just that, but I was also an advanced JIC operator. So that means that I created networks and I talked to people, and I
Mhm.
maintained all of the equipment that's from like the 1980s and made sure that it ran right, right? But the good part is that that means that I'm used to communicating with people in various ways and various methods. And the really good thing about being in the military as a superintendent or as an airman, as anything, is that you realize really quick that you're not there for you. You're not there to represent you. Even as a superintendent, I'm not there to run Cody. I'm there to make sure that my entire unit is running like a very decently well-oiled machine. You know, sometimes there's hiccups, but just like the machines that I'm trying to fix, the unit works the exact same way. You know, one broken piece of 1984 equipment or one broken airman could cost an entire mission. So it's the
Mm.
same way here. One
Okay.
small, you know, piece of the picture here not working is the same, in my opinion, you know.
I like that comparison.
I do too.
I like that a lot.
It's literally
Okay.
like we've interviewed so many candidates who are veterans, which I love because I truly feel like the future of politics needs to have so many players like veterans, people who work in healthcare, people who work in labor unions, just people from all different walks of life. But the
Mhm.
one thing that I love when we interview people who are veterans is that when we bring up, like, how are you going to use your time in the service to, you know, go forward into politics? And every single time they're like, because we had a job that we had to get done. We all had to work with each other. We didn't get to like, you know, in high school you get to pick who's on your team.
Yeah.
You get assigned, that's your unit. Everybody needs to do what they need to do. To your point, like you have your barriers that, you know, nobody's
No man left
micromanaging, but
behind.
no man left
Mhm.
behind, and you got to figure out how to work together to, you know, complete the mission or the task that you were given. And it's that plain and simple.
Yeah. I think also a lot of things that, you know, a lot of what's missing right now is a lot of the communication, a lot of the collaboration. You know, nobody wants to work with each other. Nobody wants to talk to their neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And as a military member, that's all we do is you know,
Yep.
you have a problem with somebody, you go address it immediately because that's you at the lowest level, taking care of business and trying to be as professional as possible, right? So if I'm in a very tiny box, so our boxes were these tiny cold boxes that had Atari screens in them pretty much. Only had four people
Sorry.
sitting in them, right?
Mhm.
And so you're watching radar and you're doing your job. And if you're sitting next to somebody that you don't like, you're not going to not pass information to that person
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want one of the aircraft in the air to have issues because you're not communicating with your team.
Yep.
So, you know, when you're outside of the box, you address those issues and then you find a way to professionalism inside the box, right? And that's pretty much it. That's how I've always worked is, you know, communicate as much as humanly possible, try to make people their own decision makers, right? So there's no reason not to. And that's how you get jobs done. And that's how you get more buy-in from your team most of the time is, you know, if you say, hey, I'm not quite sure how to do this thing, but you
Mm-hmm.
definitely know how to do this thing.
Mm.
Tell me what you want. It's easy.
I need these comparisons in your stump speech if you have not yet. That
Right.
because I'm like, ooh, get a tingling.
Want to run through like a brick wall whenever we do
Right?
these interviews.
All right. So to add to that, what are going to be your top 3 priorities when you win?
I mean, veterans benefits 100%. I've already got like 4, I want to say bills lined up in my head just to fix
Woo!
just to fix the property taxes. I want tiered property tax exemptions here instead of just a blanket property tax. Texas has it. We can do it. There's no reason not to. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally a copy paste.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the certification equivalency, there's multiple states that have that, copy paste again. A lot of it is just upgrading, right? And there shouldn't be an issue. The education benefits, we need to update that. And then the last one would be the VA. So here in Missouri, the VA is run the same as our Medicare. And
Mhm.
so things that are available to veterans in other states are not available to veterans here. So like comfort care, I screwed my hip up really, really bad in 2004. And the
Mhm.
military, we say they give us vitamin M. just Motrin 800s. And I've been taking 3 of those every day since 2004. My liver's not dead, but,
Fuck.
I'm part Motrin now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, geez.
I've had a hip arthroscopy. I've had tendon lengthening. I've had all kinds of things. My back, my low back is all jacked up. All kinds of problems. But with that, in other states, I would be able to go to the VA and say, hey, I would like chiropractic care. And they would say, okie dokie, no problem. Off you go to the chiropractor. And it would be not a weird chiropractor that doesn't do, imaging and things like that, because it'd be vetted through the VA.
Mm-hmm.
It would be chiropractic care with imaging, where they're adjusting you and making sure that you're not, breaking more. There would be sports medicine type of, therapy, to where you can get massage therapy and other things on those specific broken body parts. And then there's also acupuncture, which is a thing that even the Air Force does now. So it's not just the VA that can do it. The Air Force in general does acupuncture as well as chiropractic care. And to go from being active duty and having those things afforded to me to coming to, and knowing that in my last duty station in that state, that we would have that there. And then coming here and being told, no, you can't have chiropractic care. Well, you can have it, but you can only have, I think it's 5 visits for my entire lifetime. And it's with a chiropractor that did not have imaging. And that's very concerning to me because it's already jacked up. I don't need it more jacked up. So that, and then I haven't even asked for acupuncture because it's not really my jam. But, those types of things. And then massage therapy is a total no-go here. When I brought it up, they were aghast that I even asked. So those are things that I definitely want to attack like day one. As soon as I get in there, I want to get those things fixed for folks here. That way we can keep veterans here and keep those professionals here. I mean, we have a Boeing plant. There's no reason why we can't keep everybody here,
Right?
Yeah.
And then, the next one, I'd say the big thing that I'd want to work on really is housing and STR reform out here. My counterpart, he just did a little bit of STR reform where it kind of protected the investors. And I would instead like to focus on the fact that STRs, and when I say STRs, I mean short-term rentals. So like Verbo or Airbnb, those types of things. It's huge out here. But it also sucks up a lot of the single family homes that people could be renting and a lot of, the smaller, homes and secondary homes. So I think what needs to happen is some type of balance there where we can have STRs, but we need to be focusing on humans first, like, not tourists, but people that actually live here and work, 3 jobs. I shouldn't have to hear from my hairdresser that it's $1,200 a month for a low end rent.
Yep.
That's something I shouldn't have to hear about when I know that there are houses out there that should be going for like $800 some odd dollars, But I understand it in the grand scheme. I mean, if you're a landlord, you're not going to rent $800 a month to somebody when you can be making $1,500 for one weekend for an Airbnb. So there has to be some kind of middle ground.
Yeah, I get it. But to your point, there has to be some give and take. Otherwise, more people are going to leave.
Yep.
Isn't it crazy that everyone running is just like, hey, why don't we try focusing on humans? That might be a thought. Has anyone thought of doing that yet?
I think a lot of the old established folks too, like that are in the legislature, not just in Missouri, not just red, but blue too. I think they don't care. They've made their money. They have their time. They're sitting in their seat, and humans aren't really the top of the priority list.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
How can I make myself more comfortable? How can I make my kids as comfortable as humanly possible? And then how can I sit in the seat as long as possible so nobody can take it from me?
I mean, example today, literally today. What was it? Dems on the Hill signing a moderate pledge. The fuck is that?
Right?
We pledged to be more moderate.
It is really what it is. It's just all show. It's let me pander. instead of let me
these people are coming for our jobs.
Yeah, instead of just saying, "Hey, I care about people. I would like to help people," and that's all I care about. So
No can do.
No can do. No
Yeah.
can do.
Sorry,
It's
guys.
crazy.
You're just gonna have to suffer and like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that, it leads great into the next question because, we're talking about how important local elections are and the race to get people to vote. And after the most recent presidential election, I think a lot of people are feeling like their vote doesn't matter. The system's so corrupt beyond repair that why even vote? So we've been asking every candidate, what would you say to a constituent that doesn't know if they're going to vote because they don't think their vote matters?
Well, I'll start with just a real quick story about my little brother Timmy. So my little brother Timmy, he's 2 years younger than me, so he's not really little anymore. But he calls me every once in a while and he would, complain. He'd complain about his city council. He's been in Cape Girardeau his entire life, right? And so he would complain about that, or he'd complain about how the state is, not listening to people. And he's so frustrated with it and X, Y, and Z. And so he called me to complain before I had thrown my hat in the ring. And I said, Timmy, who do you think is going to come save you? Who do you think is going to do this for you? Do you think there's some magical person out there that is going to step in and say, Timmy, I got you? No, nobody's going to do that for you. So you have to get up and you have to do it yourself. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, if you don't like the way your city council is working, go run for it. It's free. It's a volunteer gig. Go do it. And he said, I didn't think about that. I said, if you don't like the way the state is working, go run for your house. That's what I'm doing. I was like, go do it. It's like $150. You go up and you volunteer for $150. And he's like, I didn't know that either. I said, yeah. The only person that's making it this way is you right now, because you see a problem and you're not fixing the problem. It's the same way with other voters. They have to come out. We just had a school board election out here, and the Democrat candidate that was on the ticket, the Democrats were like, oh yeah, we're going to vote for him. Turnout was just bone dry. Nobody came out to vote.
Of course.
When you hear, oh, well, why didn't she win? Or why didn't this person? It's because you sat on the couch. That's why.
Every
If you have a
time.
problem getting out, if you have a problem getting here, if you don't know where your polling station is, call me. Call one of our friends. Email me. TikTok message me. Whatever you gotta do, I will drive over and I will scoop you up in my Jeep and I will drive you to the polling station and we'll get you there. It's that easy, but it's, there's a barrier for people. They're disenchanted right now. It's a lot. It's not just with the presidential election, especially here in Missouri. It is the fact that our legislature, our supermajority, has overturned everything that we have petitioned for. Like, so we've a citizen-led petition initiative, right? We've done like 3 of them now. And every single time we push one up, they slap it down every single time. And, it's very frustrating. And the only way that I can, say it nicely as a veteran can, is you have to get off your ass and you have to go vote. You have to get off your ass and you have to go do the thing. You have to get your hands dirty. Facebook is not where you're going to get your hands dirty. You're going to run your mouth. But other than that, it's not where you're going to get your hands dirty. Standing on a corner, that is great. I appreciate those people, but it is not volunteering. It is not getting your hands dirty. You have to get your hands dirty and you have to help people to get the message out.
Oh yeah.
So we tell people the comment section won't save you.
No,
yeah. There's no magical, to your point, no magical being that's going to come in here and be like, don't worry, guys, I'll fix it now.
I got it.
No.
Thank God.
You've been through enough.
We could
You
be,
waited for me long enough.
Yes.
Here I am.
We had to let you guys suffer for a little bit, but don't worry, I'm here with my magic wand and I'm just going to undo everything. No, we have to be like Hungary. We have to be like Germany. We have to all go out and say enough is enough, and that's going to be through our vote or through running for office if you're in a position to do it. But yeah, sitting at home on the couch on Facebook or on Reddit threads complaining and then, saying that you don't like candidates because they don't 100% match, what you would do if you were running and you're not going to run, then we don't want to hear it. If
then run or try to platform the ones that are best for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do
or find somebody
something.
to run, dude. Yeah. Do something.
Get out there.
Anything.
Yeah. I know. Like I said, Timmy, I threw him under the bus earlier, but I yelled at him enough to where he went and he put his name in the hat. So he's running down to Cape Girardeau. My little brother is.
See, family. You,
Yeah,
the whole
it's just
family
that elbow
just went
drop
for
from
you.
big sister.
The whole
May
family
the
said
best
that's
sibling
enough.
win.
Yep.
That's the healthy competition you need to have in your family. Is all of you run for office and see who wins.
Yeah, it's funny because it's been 20 years of me in the military, of me far, far away, and maybe once a year Timmy calling or me calling Timmy, right? Like it wasn't like we're gonna talk every week. We're not that kind of sibling duo. But since he started running, it's been almost every week. Timmy calls me just to check in, make sure I'm doing okay, make sure he's doing okay,
I love that.
And, tell me about what's going on down in Cape, asking me what's going on up
And he's
here.
like, boy, do I have some complaints.
Yeah, it's really nice because it's a way to hear both sides of the state at the same time,
Right.
Well, I hope Timmy wins.
Yeah. Let us
you
know,
win and
please.
Timmy.
It's Tim Palmer.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think you're going to surprise me with this one. We're at the fun portion. All right. Who is your dream VP, living or dead, if you're running for president?
Okay, so I kind of like bounced back and forth because growing up, we had a lot of Missouri history that we were, inundated with. And I loved Mark Twain. Samuel Clemens, loved him to death. And I would love that. I know that I picked him on as somebody I would love a road trip with, right? If I was going across the country and was doing a road trip, that's my guy riding shotgun. No way I'm going to head nod at all on that ride. But I also really liked Harry S. Truman because he's such a naturalist. He's somebody that, that kind of made sure that conservation was at the forefront of what Missouri is. And he made us, made our state parks the way they are now, made us to the point where we could have the zoo that we have that's free, like all of the cool things that it all started, back then with him, with Ulysses S. Grant, with, things like that. And so I feel like I'd probably pick Truman just because he's a little more stoic than Clemens. And I'm a little flighty, so maybe he'd like,
bring you down.
Yeah, maybe he'd be like, hey, you need to put your game
Balance.
on right now.
Cody and Truman, president and vice president of
Cody and Truman. Sounds like a long.
I love that answer.
All right. Okay. I'll take that.
I got it. I like it. And this one is just a fun one that we like asking some funny questions, but we just watched a bunch of men fight on the front lawn of the White House, so we're feeling a little like, who would win in a fight? So who do you think would win in a fight? Chuck Grassley or Marco Rubio?
Listen, I think Marco Rubio would. And why? He's scrappy. For what he is, he's scrappy. And I do think he'd be somebody that would possibly bring like a box cutter to a fight, just in case, So,
right?
He's somebody that's going to get his way one way or the other. And I don't
think those quiet ones you got to watch out for.
I don't think Grassley's got that.
Yeah, you would pull some brass knuckles out.
Yeah. Just
ended quick. We're going to make a bracket. We're going to make a fight bracket of all the evil Republicans.
Yeah, if they want to fight on the front lawn, then we'll make a bracket ourselves.
Or wait, no, they took it off. It's gone because now all the grass is dead.
It does look like the claw.
It did, yeah. Blinding pilots. That's where we're at. That's why people need to vote.
Hey, do you want your tax dollars to keep going to this stupid claw? Please vote, for the love of God. Please. Begging, please. All right. So when you win we're going to try to come see everybody. You're our third person in Missouri. So where
Yep.
are we going? What's your hidden gem in Missouri?
So my favorite place, and a place that I've told everybody for 20 years about, right, while I was gone, is Johnson Shut-ins. I grew up going there. It's an awesome place. So there's another place also. It's called Elephant Rock, right? So to know about Johnson Shut-ins, you kind of have to know about Elephant Rock. It's these giant granite boulders that when you're a kid, you jump across and hope you don't die. And they're
Fun.
but there's a trail that goes through. There's even a place called the Fat Man Squeeze where you try to get through. I won't anymore, but as a kid, that was fun. And so Johnson Shut-ins is just like Elephant Rock with these giant boulders, but it's got a river running through it. And so, you get to add a little bit more danger by jumping across wet rocks.
Fun.
We're going straight for the danger.
Yeah, straight in there. And
Great.
yeah, I loved it. You don't wear a life jacket because you don't want to get sucked under one of those rocks and stuck to it.
Extra danger.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, it was my favorite place as a kid. You could, lay on a rock like a lizard for 80,000 years and tan. And then when you got hot, you could sit in, where the river runs and it's not too rough. You could sit in one of those little seats and the water just run over you like tiny little waterfalls. And then there's a big pool at the very end where you could have like picnics and whatnot. It was my favorite place as a kid. And anytime my mom was like, hey, we're going camping, we're going to, St. Joe Lead Mines, we're going to go to Elephant Rock, and we're going to go to Johnson Shut-ins. I was like, this is going to be an epic trip every single time. And
All right.
so do it.
Okay.
All
I won't
right.
promise
We're
that I probably am going to skip out on the jumping boulders, but I will watch.
My hip won't let me jump.
But everything else.
I do love to people watch, so I'd probably watch like this. As you guys do
We're going to pick up Jordan. We're going to pick up Antoine.
Yeah,
We're going to,
we have quite the road trip through Missouri, so I feel like one day just relaxing near water is going to be needed.
It's a lovely state. The thing is too is that people don't understand like the various like different environments that Missouri has, right? You have bottom, you have lakes, you have the Ozark Mountains, you have the foothills, you have all the things here. And so when I'm moving from a state that had mountains like Washington, when we were moving down, I said, I need water because I just came from the Sound area and I would like some type of water to put myself in. And then I also want trees and I also want, big hills pretty much, the Ozark Mountain. Yeah. So I want those types of things. That way I'm not just looking at, sky forever.
Yeah. I get it.
Lovely state.
Okay.
I love the rivers floating. I love everything about it, honestly. And that's why I wanted to come back. That's why when people, in the military, when they were like, ugh, Missouri, I was like, no, it's not Missouri. It's an amazing place full of people that are amazing. And I grew up in a place where people would literally give the shirt off their back for you. Cape is a great place, and the Ozarks here are great also. So I'm glad that I'm home.
See, that's who you want to represent you. Somebody who found their way back to Missouri and was like, this is home. This is where I want to be. She loves everything about it. I don't know why you would go to, the polls and not vote for somebody who actually loves where they live. Like, why would you not go and vote for somebody who is like, hi, I love where I live, that I came back here.
Yeah.
Willingly.
Benefits for me.
And I want more people to come live here, and I could fix the problems that are making everyone else leave. And then we
never thought of it like that before.
It's just come on, people. Missouri, I have faith in you guys. Voter turnout.
You can do it.
80%. I think it can happen. 80% voter turnout would be just.
Hungry did it. That's the baseline we want. We want 80.
That would be lovely.
That would be
across the board.
That would be perfect. And we have faith. We do. We have faith.
It can get done.
Yes. Yes, we're going to get it done. Okay. We have time. We have time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cody, we want to thank you for coming on the podcast. We know this is crazy season in the election cycle, and I'm sure you are so busy. So we want to thank you for taking time and coming and speaking with us here, us regular people. We like
So
to have fun,
regular.
though, we like to be serious and have fun and share information. But before we end, we want to give you a chance to shameless plug your website where people can go and learn more about your campaign, where they can donate, and if you have any in-person events that you're doing where people could come and meet you.
So actually tomorrow, Jordan and I are doing a kind of like a burger burn town hall
Hey.
bonfire
Okay.
thing. We're doing that at Osage Beach at the city park there. And so we're going to have burgers and we're going to have hot dogs and hopefully we won't get rained out. But anybody and everybody is welcome to attend. And that's really the big thing that we're doing right now. Other than that, as far as a page, mine's Facebook oriented, really. And I
Love
also
it.
have Substack, but Facebook is really the best way. And it's just Hutch for Missouri. It's that easy because I went by Hutch in the military and Hutch is just, it's a lot easier to hear in my ears than Cody.
Yes. And yeah, I get it. I feel like people
reaching those boomers.
reach the boomers on Facebook. Yeah.
Smart.
Yes, yes, you got to reach the boomers. But also
Yep.
Substack is really growing, guys, too. So if you're not on Substack, get on Substack because a lot of candidates are getting on Substack and they're
Yep.
writing articles about what's happening
Mhm.
and what they would do. And it's great because, you know, then you don't have to sit and listen through a video if you'd much rather read about it like an article. So
Mhm.
if you don't have Substack, I highly recommend getting it to follow
Yeah.
politicians.
Not
Absolutely.
just that, but a lot of like news people that have left,
Yep.
mainstream
Yeah,
news,
Joy
they're
Reid,
jumping over there.
Don Lemon. Yeah, a lot of people are heading over there. It's really great place to actually get information and get personal
Yep.
takes on news that's happening. So that is I highly recommend getting a Substack. For people that don't know, when is the primary?
Oh Lord, I want to say it's November 3rd. It's either November 3rd or 4th.
See,
Let me,
guys,
yeah.
just block off the whole week.
Yeah, take the
Yeah.
whole week.
Take the whole week
to
off.
vote.
Take the
Take the
whole
week off
week.
to vote.
Please
Let
take the
me
whole
know.
week off.
If you can't get there, let me know.
Cody's gonna
Message
pick
me
you
on
up.
Facebook, and I will
She's
pick
gonna
you
come in the
up.
Jeep.
She's gonna
Yeah,
pull
I'll
up in
take
the
you in the
Jeep.
Jeep.
Beep
We'll
beep,
have to
get in.
find it.
I love it. Yep, she's doing a caravan. She's gonna drive
Yep.
around. You might as
I
well get a
sure will.
bus for the
I
day
sure
and just
will. Yeah, we could get one of the
That would
rental
be
from
awesome.
the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So out here they have party buses. We could rent one of those and drive around and pick folks up.
That
and
would be sick.
yeah.
Get
Fun.
in, loser.
We're
We're
going
gonna
to
go
the
vote.
polls.
Yeah, get out the vote party van.
Yes, and then on the way there, they can talk you through the amendments and how the wording's going to be, and you'll feel
Yeah.
so good when you walk in. I feel like if
Mhm.
you guys can make that happen, I think
That would
That
be
would
would
be
just
cool.
be
epic,
great.
That'd be so
honestly.
cool.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, thank you, Cody, again for coming on. And thank you guys for
Thank you so
listening.
much.
Every single week, we are dropping a chat GRC, and it's going to be a candidate who's running that's not taking corporate PAC, APAC, any of that corporate money. These are grassroots candidates. They want to do this job. They want to make the change. And I think that we can do it in November. And I'm just so excited. It's getting closer and closer. My anxiety is rising, but doing this is really helpful. So if you have a candidate that we haven't interviewed that you want us to interview, please go ahead and reach out to us at our email. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.